I'm Victoria Pearson, but you can call me V. And this is a little bit of a chaos vlog for you again. You're getting used to them with me, I think. But basically, I had decided that this vlog was all going to be about my goals for 2024, my plans, letting you know what I'm hoping to get up to this year. But all over my socials, on my Blue Sky, on my Twitter, and even in some of the comments on my New Year's video, I've seen a lot of people talking about how they plan to reduce their debts over the coming year, pay some things off, get a bit more in control of their finances. And that is something that I have managed to do over the last few years. I was struggling a lot with debt and I had a lot of money worries. I'm by no means rich now, but I feel like I'm a lot more in control of my finances. I managed to pay off my big debts, make everything more manageable again. And because of that, I'm feeling so much less stressed. Because when you do have a lot of debts, or even just lots of small debts that are manageable, but they feel all out of your control, that can lead you to just having your whole life be about money. You wake up, you think, oh God, how am I going to afford things today? Are we even going to have electricity today? I don't know what I'm going to feed the children later. Don't know how I'm going to pay for their birthday next month. All those sorts of things. That's very stressful. And when you're very stressed, you then start having knock-on effects on your health, on your mental health, and on your home, and it all just becomes a big spirally thing. So today we are going to try and get that a bit under control so that you feel in control again, and that's going to make you feel so much less stressed going into the new year. Obviously, I can't give you specific legal advice. I am not a financial counsellor. I am not a debt management expert. And obviously you're watching from all over the world, and so different laws and different agencies will be available in different areas. And so I can't be really specific about that, but I can give you some basics that's going to help you start to get things under control. Not from a professional perspective, just from my personal perspective of what helped me. So first things first, you need to work out exactly what you owe to everybody. And that's going to probably be your biggest admin task of sorting all of this out. You're going to open all of those letters that you've been ignoring. You're going to work out who you owe, what to. You're going to write it all down on one piece of paper so you've got it there and you know what's happening. It's very helpful if you can at that point to make a note of which ones are charging you high interest rates and which ones are adding charges because you haven't paid yet. Those are going to be the ones that you do as your second priority. Your first priority, always, with any kind of money problems, make sure that your rent or your mortgage is paid. That is the most important one. It is the one that will see you being homeless. And if you're in the UK, if you're in England, I'm not sure if you do have to in Scotland, but if you're in England, you also have to pay council tax. And if you don't pay council tax, you can go to jail. So rent, council tax, the ones that can get you homeless or in prison, those are our top priority. Those are what we're going to pay in full whenever we can, as often as we can. All of the other debts, we'll sort them out afterwards. But we're going to make sure we've got a roof over our head and we're not going to prison, because we're all too pretty for prison, right? So rent, council tax, anything that can send you to jail or to the streets, that's your priority. After that, that's where we can start playing around with things a little bit. Obviously, the best way to get out of debt is to increase your income, obviously, but who doesn't want to increase their income? There's nobody sitting there going, well, I could take this much better, higher paid job, but I like being poor. So chances are if you could increase your income, you would have done already. It's worth looking into if there's ways that you can increase your income, but I'm guessing if you're watching this video, you've already exhausted all of those possibilities. So we're going to look at reducing these debts. Now, the very first thing that you need to do, if you haven't done it already, is to start contacting people that you owe the money to. Because once you have told them that you are not unwilling to pay, you're just struggling to pay, they will work with you to make a payment plan that you can afford. It is in their best interest to do that, because if they don't, then they have to take you to court, and that is going to cost them money, and then they're going to get much less than you would offer them anyway. So they want to avoid going to court. You want to avoid going to court because that's just going to mess up your credit rating even more. So call them up, tell them that you want to pay but you're really struggling to pay. Is there anything that they can do to help you? Most of the time, once you start communicating with your debtors like that, they will either reduce your interest or stop your debt being added to. So if you start ignoring debt letters, what happens is they start giving you admin fees for each of the letters that they have to send you. And then if they have to send bailiffs out to you, then that's more costs on top of it. And your debt keeps growing and growing and growing just by you not doing anything. As soon as you ring them up and tell them, I really want to pay this, I'm struggling to do it, but I want to, they will organise a payment plan for you. And then all those extra charges will stop. And they will also stop pushing to go to court. As long as you stick to the agreement that you have made with them, you will not have to go to court. You will not have CCJs against you. You won't have bailiffs coming to your door. You just need to make an arrangement with them and really stick to it. So that's step one. Now, if you are looking at a massive list of creditors that you owe money to, and you're thinking, I don't even know where to start with ringing these. If I have to give each of them £5 a month, I'm going to be in the minuses again. I'm going to be eating into my overdraft, all that sort of thing. You might be better off getting advice from an outside agency, because they can sometimes communicate with these people on your behalf as well, and they can help you prioritise your debts so that you know which ones to tackle first. So in the UK and England, that would be the Citizens Advice Bureau, the Consumer Credit Counselling Service, or housing advice centres, anything like that where they don't make a profit from you. So you're looking for credit and debt counselling services and charities specifically, rather than companies that work to consolidate your debts. Those people are going to be profiting from bundling all of your debt up into one thing, and so they're not reliable people to go to for money advice. If they're going to be profiting from the advice that they're giving you, then their motivation isn't always very sound. So Citizens Advice Bureau, Consumer Credit Counselling Services, debt reduction charities. The Money Advice Service is another good one in the UK. If you are outside of the UK, look specifically for debt reduction charities, credit charities, and credit unions who will be able to help you and not make a profit from whatever they're helping you with. Those are the people whose advice you can trust. If you speak to those, what they will probably do, and certainly what they did when I was in a lot of debt when I was much younger, is that they will help you to work out a budget of what you can afford to spend. If you've never done that before, that can sound quite scary, but it's really, really easy to do. You can do it on paper at home. You don't need a fancy app or anything. I do it in the same way that my grandma did. At the beginning of the month, I write down how much money I've got, and then each time I spend, I write down how much I spend, I take it away from my total, and I divide that total by how many days are left until I next get paid. That way I know exactly how much I can spend per day without going into debt. Once you know that, once you've got that system down, you can then start to see areas that you could save some money on. And when I first started writing down everything I spent, I realised I was spending a lot of money on snack foods just because I wanted to go out of my house at lunchtime because I work from home and I was getting a bit cooped up. And so I would walk to the shop and get a snack and walk back. Once I realised that that was actually losing me a lot of money in the week, I thought, well, I can just go for a walk and not get a snack. And I could maybe get a snack once a week, because we all do need a little treat every now and then, even if we are reducing our debts, because otherwise we just become hopeless. But there are these little things where we can reduce our debts. Before the cost of living crisis, I would have said to you, ditch the main supermarkets, go to Lidl, go to Aldi, the more budget supermarkets. But I think quite a lot of you are probably already doing that now, and you're already buying cheaper products and things like that, so you probably don't need me to tell you that. But there will be other spaces when you write down what you've been spending where you'll think, did I really need 6 chocolate bars this week, or could I have done with the extra £2.50 that I spent on that? And you will start to see areas where you can make little savings. But you'll also, the act of writing your budget down is going to help you feel in control of it. And that's just going to make you feel so much calmer about managing your money. It's going to make it all a lot easier to deal with. There is absolutely no situation on this entire planet that will be improved by you panicking about it. So the best thing that we can do to sort out our debts is stay nice and calm, approach it in a really methodical way. Things that you are not going to do, absolutely not going to do, include but are not limited to payday and doorstep lenders. However good it seems, however much they're like, oh, we don't care about your credit, we'll just give you the money, that's fine. They are going to cost you an absolute fortune an absolute fortune. Their interest rates are out of control. I believe that some legislation was brought in to curtail them in the UK a little bit, but they are still predatory lenders who are not going to be helping you, and they are not the people that you are going to for advice on this. They absolutely will make your situation so much worse. We do not entertain the doorstep lenders. They are not for you. They are not for anybody. Nobody is borrowing from any doorstep lenders or payday loan people on my watch, okay? Another thing to remember though is if your debts have spiraled to the point where you already have bailiffs visiting your home, and again, this is in the UK, check this for where you live, but in the UK, you do not have to let a bailiff into your house, no matter what they say to you. If they say to you they're going to bring the police to let them into your house, if they've never been in your house before, they are not allowed to go into your house again. You must keep your doors and windows shut when you are communicating with them. You do not invite them in to communicate with them. It's embarrassing talking to them on your doorstep where your neighbours can see, but it is what you need to do, because as soon as they come into your property, they can take walk-in possession of items in your home, which means that if you don't keep up with your repayments, then they will be able to force their way in legally and take your things because they're being held against your debt. If bailiffs are coming to your door, you don't answer the door to them. You ask them to move off your property and you come out and speak to them. You come out and speak to them and you say to them that you are in contact with debt reduction charities and that you are working on it and that you will get back to them, but for now they're not coming into your home. You don't have to speak to them either. You can just leave them knocking on your door. They cannot break into your house if they have never been into your house before. Do not let bailiffs in. They are like vampires. They can do you a lot of harm, but only once you've invited them into your house. So at this stage, you've paid your rent and your council tax. You've got your list of debts. You've got your budget. You know how much you're spending. And you know how much you've got left at the end of each week. That is what you can afford to give the people that you owe. It might not be enough to pay off all of them. And that's okay. Don't panic about that. What you do is you take the biggest debt first, usually, which is the one with the highest interest rate. Because when you're paying a high interest rate on something, that means that you're paying more for the product the longer that it takes you to buy it. And we don't want to be paying more for those products. We want to be paying the price that was written down originally. But when we buy things on credit and we're paying interest on it, we end up paying more and more and more and more for the product. If you are a super organised person, which I am not, so I wouldn't do this, but it is good advice, I'm told. If you are a super organised person, then you might want to consolidate your debts onto a 0% credit card. You should only do that if you are able to pay off the debt before the end of the 0% interest rate period. Because otherwise, as soon as that 0% introductory offer ends, your interest rate is going to skyrocket and you're back to square one again. But if you feel like you can pay off that payment before the end of that 0% interest, well worth doing that, because then you're not paying any interest on your debts at all. They're staying the same amount and you can just work on paying them off. Everything that you pay towards them will be towards your original debt and not the extra charges associated with it. If you're very, very organised, then you can switch your credit card every sort of 6 months or so and stay on a 0% introductory offer for ages and ages until you've paid it all. Trouble with me doing that is that I'm not organised enough. I would forget before I needed to change to a new card, and I would end up paying a lot of interest on my debts. So that would not be a very sensible thing for me to do. If you're somebody with like ADHD, ADD or memory issues or anything like that, don't get a credit card at all. Just don't. It's just not worth it. There are some circumstances where getting a credit card can be good for your credit. If you're already in debt, you are not in those circumstances right now. You do not need to be taking on more debt. Only get a 0% credit card if you can transfer all your debts to it and pay it off before the end of the interest-free period. Otherwise, you're just throwing more bad money after good, and that's no good at all. So yeah, to recap, here's how you get out of debt. Write out your budget, stick to it. Stick to it as hard as you can. Obviously, there's going to be some months where unexpected expenses happens to us all, might set you back a little bit, but it won't set you back forever as long as you stick to your plan. Get outside agencies involved if that is appropriate to you. Debt advice charities are really, really good. They will help you for free. They won't charge you anything. They won't try and sell you anything. They just want you to get back out of debt again. And so they're really, really helpful. if you are not sure where to find your nearest debt reduction charity or whatever, go to your local library or the nearest library to you, because if we don't use them, we are going to lose them, and they are such brilliant resources. The people there can point you in the right direction of charities that can help you, of consumer organisations that can help you. They themselves might be able to help you and tell you things that you're entitled to. If you're struggling to meet your food bills, they will be able to tell you where to go to get a referral to a food bank if you need that. The library are brilliant. They're not just for books, they are for everything. And the people that work in them, if they can't help you, they will be determined to find you somebody that can, because librarians are awesome. Go to the library, ask them for help. It's also a good place to hang out and do some work or something if you work from home, because then you're reducing your own heating bills as well and your own power bills, and that's always a good thing too. Once you've got your budget written out and you've spoken to your main creditors, you're going to tell everybody that you owe money to that you really want to pay, and you are working on building a budget to do that. They will work with you to do that, because that is the easiest way for them to get their money back out of you. They don't want to take you to court. It's expensive, it's long, and then they end up having to get it back off you at like £1 a week or something, and it's not worth it to them. Okay, it's much better for them to avoid going to court. It's much better for you to avoid going to court. It's better for everybody if we all just talk to each other about it, explain that you're struggling, and ask them what is available to help. If you are in debt to utility companies, things like that, they might even say to you, well, you're not on the best rate for you. Let me change that. Let me make your electricity cheaper. Let me come and check that you've got an up-to-date meter. Let me make sure that you've not got a gas leak. Anything like that will help reduce your bills. There may well be deals that you have no idea about. So ring them up, tell them your circumstances. There is help available for you for all sorts of different reasons that you might not know about, because they don't like to advertise these things, but it is there. And that is another thing that the library can help you with as well. Once you've got all of your debts prioritised in the order you're going to pay them, the amount that you're going to pay them off, tackle the biggest one first and then do the next on the list when that one's gone. And before you know it, you will be chipping away at all of those little debts, and it will feel more in control. And that's the most important thing. Like I said, nothing is ever solved by having a panic about it. But actually taking a great big deep breath, calming yourself right down and tackling it one step at a time, that is how we do these things. It's how I do everything. It works really, really well for debt relief. But if you are struggling with debt at the moment, just know that you're not alone. It is something that happens to all of us. It isn't a moral failing that you owe people money. It doesn't have to ruin your whole life. When you're in a lot of debt, it feels like it's ruining your whole life, but it really doesn't have to. Deep breath, nice and calm, tackle it one stage at a time. That's the best way to do it. I will be here next Monday, 6 a.m. UK time, just like I always am, but I'm not sure what I'm going to be talking about yet. I might talk about my goals for 2024, but I might decide that the start of the year is too far away for that now. But I felt like this was more important. I felt like this was more pressing for a lot of you. And so I just wanted to let you know that it is possible to get yourself back out of the debt hole, even if you are really, really deep in. And I totally believe in you being able to do that. If you can't wait until next Monday to see me, I understand, I'm pretty awesome. I will be here every morning in your shorts, taking a great big deep breath, letting you know what I'm grateful for, sometimes letting you know what I'm struggling with that day. I'm also here on a Wednesday doing a Witchy Wednesday card reading as well, and I might be doing some other things through this year as well. I'll let you know. Until then, you have yourself a magical week.